Hi, and welcome to Thone's Nibbles, number 135, covering part of the material in 1 Corinthians chapter 2, as the Holy Spirit teaches. This comes from 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verses 13 through 16. These things we also speak, not in words which man's wisdom teaches, but which the Holy Spirit teaches, comparing spiritual things with spiritual. But the natural man does not receive the things of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness to him, nor can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned. But he who is spiritual judges all things. Yet he himself is rightly judged by no one. For who has known the mind of the Lord, that he may instruct him? But we have the mind of Christ. And all this is about spiritual discernment, really. First of all, a couple of definitions here to make sure everybody is on the same page. The natural man, that means the unsaved man, the man who is in his natural unsaved state. He does not receive the things of the Spirit of God, for their foolishness to him. That is, take an unsaved person and try to teach them difficult doctrine, and it makes no sense whatsoever to them, because the Holy Spirit isn't there to help them understand it. Now, why is this in the Bible? It explains the process of spiritual judgment. Who is it written to? To men looking for spiritual wisdom. And what communications do we have here? Man's wisdom is insufficient for spiritual knowledge. That is, the things that I can pick up on my own, so to speak, either by reading books or listening to learned men or whatever, is not sufficient for having spiritual knowledge. The Scriptures, when they are taught to a saved person, is the way that you pick up spiritual knowledge. Application to my life. As we hear preaching or read Scriptures, we must also listen to the Holy Spirit within us, speaking to us with words that are not in human vocabulary. Then perhaps we can comprehend a little better. Isn't that an interesting thought? That the communications between the Holy Spirit, who is in us, and us is not in English or Spanish or German or Russian or whatever. It is a language which is only known to the Holy Spirit to communicate with us. And so isn't that interesting, the way that God laid that out? What did God tell me about all this? The mind of Christ is our key guidance, speaking through both Scriptures and the Holy Spirit. We read the Scriptures, we question what that means, and the Holy Spirit helps us out with understanding. My personal response to this is that, Lord, help me listen with my intellect, up here, my emotion, in here, and my spirit, down here. Altogether, they are more than their sum. That is, if I just, ideally we would think, well, we just go straight to the Spirit. The Spirit answers our questions. The Spirit does not teach our basic things to us. That's what comes from the intellect in reading the Scriptures. Then you have those basic things down, then perhaps you'll have an emotional response to one or more of them. The classic questions: why do bad things happen to good people? Or why must children suffer? Those kinds of questions, those are emotional questions. We see things and we say, how could that be? Then The Spirit tells us, explains to us, both the details of some of these things, and also the satisfying of the emotional impact that they may have. So that's a really good chapter there, because it tells us really how it's a description in how to study the Bible, really, because words are intellectual things. Emotions are deep inside things that may be because of the reaction to those things that we read, and then the Holy Spirit can explain it all to us. And I really appreciate that thought. And I'll see you next time.